Good evening, fellow Zimbabweans. Today's topic is basically about the effect and the attitude that our leaders seem to have upon us as citizens, and is aptly named leadership. We can basically equate this to when a man wants to marry his wife-to-be, there are certain things that he needs to do to make it known that he truly wants to marry this woman. A few of these things would be perhaps one, approach the father of the bride and ask for his daughter's hand in marriage. One perhaps prepares an engagement ring, perhaps even an engagement party. Perhaps the man needs to make preparations for his new wife, possibly children. And obviously you would probably have to ask the lady herself if she would actually marry you. But what is the purpose of doing all these things? Well, the man wants something. He wants it from his father-in-law. And that is permission to marry his daughter. And how does he go about this? He goes about this with humility and demonstrates it through his actions. Me and you, the listener, are like a father-in-law. We have our X that is needed by the political leaders or the son-in-laws. So the question is, are our leaders being humble enough and doing things to get our approval? Personally, my answer to that is a big no. Let us use an example of an everyday event or weekend event in Zimbabwe of a rally. Where do people like me and you, the X's, where do we sit? What do we drink? What do we eat? Now, don't get me wrong, we're not saying that people need to pay us to attend these rallies or perhaps be enticed with food or drinks and stuff. No. But we are the people whose X's are needed, aren't we? So why do the leaders sit on a comfortable couch? And that couch is conveniently located under a very nice looking tent. Not to mention the fact that they're almost always late. And when they do pitch up, they said that they have car issues. What car issues do you really have if you're driving a brand new Jeep Cherokee? If the son-in-law arrived late for his meeting with his father-in-law and then proceeded to take the best seat in the house, pour himself a glass and light up a massive herb-like cigarette, do you think the request for his daughter's hand in marriage will go well? No. Just look at the houses and cars these so-called leaders have. We're not saying that leaders must live underneath a tree and spend the whole day mourning and wailing in our behalf. No, not at all. But let's look at what they really do. One deputy president was given a choice of 3 houses. He refused them all and said they were well below his standards, and instead he chose to stay in a hotel for over a year, costing the taxpayers $240,000. That amount could have been used to pay for agricultural produce and inputs for an entire province. Another person, as soon as they entered the GNU, Government of National Unity, they built a $3 million mansion when they already had their own house. Do you know how many ARVs could have been bought with $3 million? MPs start their duty in Parliament by issuing themselves cars. One wonders how they got around before they became MPs. Even the MPs in Harare itself have their own houses and their own cars, and yet still claim allowances for hotels. and fuel towards a few hundred litres per month. Makes you wonder where that fuel's going. Is it going to their taxi business perhaps? Even if we agree that an MP or a minister needs a vehicle, why does he need the most expensive one? And why do they need a family car and a 4x4? Personally, I would say $30,000 could be a very nice car for an MP or a minister, so why go $60,000 and above? The President travels in a convoy that has between 20 and 30 vehicles. As President, one would perhaps understand 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 cars. But 20 to 30? Really? In a country where he claims to be supported by 70% of the people? What a waste of manpower and fuel. A minister gets a driver. Again, ask yourself, how did he get around before he became a minister? We always hear of strategic retreats or team building exercises where our leaders book into expensive hotels and resorts. Do you think that Zimbabwe, struggling as it is, can afford such waste of money to discuss strategies that can be easily discussed in the existing offices? No, it can't. I could go on, but I think we can clearly see that our so-called leader in government and in opposition are the same. They all seem to take politics as a first job and make a living out of it, with no care for us, the X's. Let us really take a closer look at our leaders. Do they really do as they say? At rallies and meetings, when they shout out, "We want to help those suffering who are looking for funds. We will return with seeds and fertilizer. We are busy sourcing them. We will build a new classroom soon for $5,000. We are waiting for donors." As soon as they finish saying that, they leave the venue in their convoy consisting of $80,000 cars that were bought with the very funds that were supposed to pay for what they have just shouted out at the rally. Please, guys, we are the people with the X. We have the power. Look, listen, understand. Don't vote for thieves and liars. Don't vote for those who are still trying 35 years later to fix things, but to this day keep saying, "We are nearly there." Others say 2016 will be better. 2017 is going to be better. 2018 is going to be watershed. This year we will finally finish that road. Next month, after elections, we will bring you new tractors. That is all rubbish. So don't forget, we, the X's, are the fathers-in-law. We have the power. Let's see what the son-in-law is willing to do to be able to get our X. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what I say, if you like the way I say it, please feel free to like my Facebook page, Brett Mouvet. And we've also recently opened up a YouTube channel. So if you can subscribe to that, you'll catch all the other videos that you might have missed. Thank you very much.